President Danielle Sutton. You get around, don't you?
I'll get around to you, too.
First, let me start with congratulations on G20. What do you think would surprise people to learn about directing a movie like this? Like, in terms of the size, scale, and, like, what goes on behind the scenes?
I mean, one of the things that is different about this movie is that you have Viola Davis as your lead. And that is probably surprising to a lot of people because when they see the movie, she kicks ass. She is really good at this. And she was scary with our villain. You know, she was right there with Antony Starr. So I think that's something that might be surprising, not to me, but to a lot of people, that she can really, she's a real badass. As her physicality, the way she handles the weapons, and then the authority she has in every moment.
I feel like between The Woman King and this, it's all building towards her fighting John Wick.
Exactly. But you know what? With one difference, Viola has such depth in her performance and in her character. Like, she brings something into the character that she wanted it to be there. Like, it needed to be grounded. From the beginning, myself, I wanted the movie to be real because G20 is a real thing. It's not a John Wick scenario where there's a hotel where killers go and stay. No, this is the G20. It happens every year. So the first thing was, how do we make this really grounded? And then at the same time, make it huge Hollywood extravaganza. So we had technical advisors. I had ex-CIA guy advising me. I had a ranger. I had an expert in G7 and security, the Munich conference security, to really advise us on how to create the security for the G20, how these events get organized, and then how do you take them over with a terrorist attack. So all of that was already worked in the script, and then Viola comes in, and she really needs to find it inside of her. She doesn't play lines. She will not give you a false line or a Hollywood line. She needs to bring it from inside. And so there was work that we did together in finding what was moving her, what was behind her character. And it's right there in the movie.
No, 100%. What was it actually like for you yesterday? I'm not sure if you've watched it with like a big audience, but what is it like seeing your work with Viola, like this kind of thing, with a huge audience, with people laughing and clapping and just getting into it?
It's funny because I can't not see everything in the movie that I would have done different. So I'm watching the movie and I'm like, because it's kind of like a sculpture over a period of time, right? It's a 2-hour sculpture. And I sculpted it, every single tiny moment, every line, everything. And I can't not see that. So at the same time, I'm loving the laughs. I'm loving the claps, the cheering. It's very unusual. It's not normal for people to react like that. But I can't sit straight like an audience. I'm just watching everything that I would have done different. Hopefully in 10 years, I stop doing that.
Sure. Many directors have told me that. There's a great line in the movie with the word Wakanda. Who came up with that?
Our first editor, Emma, we had a line, it was in the script, first of all, but it was slightly different. It was, she's the name of the character. She's the Dora Milaje. That was the line originally. But people didn't remember. Like, if you were not like a Wakanda, a Black Panther fan, people didn't realize what we were saying. And so then we were trying to find how to make the line work. And our editor, Emma, said, "You're from Wakanda." And that just did it. And it's a huge laugh. It's a great line.
That was the one that brought the house down. It was great. So I love talking about editing with directors because that's where it all comes together. So what did you learn from your first friends and family screening or your first test screening that impacted the finished film?
You know, I'm a huge there are many types of directors and directors that don't let anybody see the movie and everything just comes from inside. I'm a huge audience proponent. I love to see how audiences react to it. So I do a lot of friends and family. I bring in my worst critics. I love people that just trash the movie and tell me all the things that would be different. I love the honesty. I beg for that, and I like to learn how the scenes are playing, if people are liking a character or not, if it's coming out as annoying, or if a line is funny or not. So I love doing a lot of friends and family, and I keep chipping at it. You know, it's really a sculpture. So I already knew that the movie was playing really well. When we did some test screenings too, and people were laughing, people were clapping and cheering in the middle of the movie. And I heard that that's very unusual, that sometimes in those test screenings, people are practically dead. But this is what my Amazon executive said. You know, you have to go in there with a mirror and check to see if they're alive. So that was a huge compliment. Now, in the premiere, I think everyone was in steroids. I mean, that was crazy. The reaction from the audience was just absolutely crazy. I'm very grateful.
I do want to know, though, did you make any changes? Like, was there any small things or big things that you altered because you're like, oh, how did I miss this?
In the movie?
Yeah.
100 million changes. I feel like the movie's written 3 times. It's written before we shoot it. And then as we were shooting, we were rewriting a lot. You know, a lot of the scenes maybe didn't make sense something. The actor comes up with an idea, a line, or you realize you're missing something. There's no logic to a moment. So we're doing that. And then in the editing room, it really gets in a way rewritten one more time. So there are 100 million things that changed in this movie.
I will leave it there. I'm just going to say congrats. I'm very confident this will be a big hit for you. Thank you so much for your time.
I hope so. Thank you so much.
Yeah.